right, Mark from my card post. The Connor McDavid, the Cup RPA finished 54th on the 25 and 25 countdown. What's your reaction to that?
54th? I'm not going to lie. I'm actually kind of mad about that one, to tell you the truth.
Where did you have it?
Fourth, okay? 50
Ooh.
spots above where this, voting
Okay, so
community
you
ranked it.
you had it you had it as the number one hockey card. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
So this is
54th
what's
is
tough. So for me, this is what's hard about hockey. Is like I sat there and I looked at hockey and I was like, man, we need to put hockey and I did choose a hockey card for my list. I looked at it and I was like, is it a Young Guns? Is it Crosby? Is it Ovechkin? Is it McDavid? And I've asked five or six hockey people. Nobody agrees.
Are you
Nobody's on the same page. And I honestly I think that worked against hockey quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, wow. I mean, when you look at like the Mount Rushmore of hockey greats of all time, McDavid's going to be on there. I mean, yeah, he's still young. Again, his career is still being written, but I mean, it's going to be like Gretzky, Bobby Orr, Connor McDavid, and then choose your fourth. I mean, it could be, I don't even know, Sidney Crosby, Ovechkin, um, Mario Lemieux, Gordie Howe. I mean, obviously these are some of the more popular ones, but McDavid is absolutely on that list. I am just kind of shocked to see that he didn't even crack the top 25 or top 50 for that matter when I had him in my
Well,
top five.
this may make you feel a little bit better, but he actually does have a card that made the top 50. It's his Young Guns though that made the top 50. And again, this is to me this is something that is to be said for all younger players. There's a period of time where people sort of think about the cards being great cards or iconic cards, but they don't know how they sort of stack up against each other. And what's interesting is that the hockey community, I think, is still trying to determine that. This, from my perspective, looking at the votes, talking to people, there are a lot of hockey cards that people love, but it's really hard to figure out which ones are the most iconic, even amongst the hockey collectors. And so you've got this is a perfect example. You've got the Cup RPA. You had it way higher than the Young Guns, but in general, the Young Guns was actually voted higher.
I think that, yeah, I guess that just goes back to like how does each person define iconic? So to me it was rarity, value, like aesthetically pleasing, like beautiful cards that I'm most likely never going to own. Where I've had the Connor McDavid Young Guns, I could acquire it again, and because there's a lot of them out there. I mean, they're
A lot of them out there.
so yeah. I mean, iconic as far as like recognizable. I mean, instantly can recognize Connor McDavid's, Young Guns, but there's tons of them out there. I don't know how many PSA 10s there are, but there's
A
probably
lot.
thousands of them. So to a lot of people who are Connor McDavid collectors, I mean that's probably a core piece in their collection. That part I totally get, but I guess I didn't really rank my list based on iconic in that sense. To me, it was very much about like the rarity. I mean, again, it's like a patch auto limited Connor McDavid. I mean, top
And your
five to
list,
me.
and I'm going to tell you what, man, your list is just as good as anybody else's. And
Yeah,
I don't think that's from my perspective. Who cares what I think? But like, that's why we do it this way. Is we say, I want to hear what you think. You're somebody whose opinion people really respect in the hobby, and so I love hearing it. Did you have the Young Guns make the list even, or did that not even crack your list?
you know what? I did not actually because I struggled. I mean, I literally you're down to like your 24th and 25th choice and you're just like, oh my gosh, there's so many of these cards that I just can't fit the top 20. It was really difficult, right? It was hard to choose just 25. And I have my own personal biases. Like, as much as I don't love LeBron and I'm not the biggest LeBron, I begrudgingly included some of his cards in my top 25, where if I was sticking to my personal biases, I would have had no LeBrons in my top 25, but then my list would have been kind of a joke. And so
I
yeah, I mean,
saw
I struggled.
we have other experts who put as many as like seven or eight hockey cards on their list, and I sort of like wince at that a little bit. Like seven or eight. I mean, you might love hockey more than anything in the world, but seven or eight on there feels like a lot. And so I appreciate
Yeah.
that you did that. I tried to do the same thing, right? Like in my top 10, there's, I think, four different sports. Like I said, there is a hockey card in my list. I think I had, so I put you're going to laugh. I put the Sidney Crosby, the Cup card is the most iconic hockey card of the 2000s. And I feel like that's true because I think
Yeah.
the Cup was so important. And Sidney Crosby, especially when he came out, it was such a huge deal, right? It was such a huge deal for years, and he's turned out to be one of the all-time greats. But then in that same draft class, you've got Ovechkin, who ends up being the all-time goal scorer, and it's like, how do I measure some of these things? I really struggled not putting more hockey cards on the list, but then again, like I don't recognize those cards
Yeah.
nearly as easily as I do even like baseball and football and even some soccer cards. And so it was a tough exercise, and I think it's tough for hockey fans. I really do.
Absolutely. I mean, that's fair. I mean, I only had three. I mean, which is shocking because I'm a big hockey
You're a hockey
guy
guy.
and hockey
Yeah.
collector. I definitely had Ovi and Sid's RPAs on my list at 15 and 16, which top 20 in that particular sense. I just feel like yeah, Ovechkin, of course, all-time goal scoring leader. That's massive. Sidney Crosby, again, generational talent. There's just something about McDavid that he's just the elite of the elite is
I
in
love it.
his skill set. And I don't know, what's he like? Only 28 years old. I mean, he still has like 10 years of like incredible productivity. Obviously, he's fighting for a Stanley Cup right now. I just think he's just missing a couple of Stanley Cups. Obviously, Sydney's won them, three or four of them. Ovechkin's won one or two. Yeah, I don't know that you just the eye test on McDavid alone. You could just, I mean, he's like Gretzky level, where his point total, not just goals, but his point total is going to be competing for number one of all time. I
Well,
personally believe.
I love your perspective on this, and I again I like the way that you voted. I think it's great. I'm sorry that the card wasn't higher. I think I'm gonna have a lot of these moments with people where they're gonna
Yeah,
be like, "Wait a second, like how could this happen?" And it's like we just conducted an experiment and we said, here's how we're going to split it. 50% experts, there are people who have interests in several different areas, and 50% the community, and we're going to see where it falls. And I think that there's going to be people, and I think this is how it should be. There's going to be people in every single vertical or every single sport where they're going to go, I think that this is wrong. I think this should have been the one that won. And it's like, we can't control the votes. We just have to take them and see what happens. And so,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So,
It is. Thank you for doing this. It's a lot of fun. It was very difficult to
yeah,
choose. Yeah, obviously left a bunch of them on the cutting room floor that you feel deserve it. But again, we could only choose 25, which made it really hard. I'll be interested to see what number one is. I feel like that will probably be the most probable card that majority of people might agree on. But again, this shocked me with some of the
I know.
with the cards here. The